Something about me that nobody knows. Let's think. This is, I'm not thinking about what it is. I'm thinking about whether to share it.
Hit the subscribe button and click the bell notification to become part of the Transplant Helper community.
Hey folks, welcome to Transplant Helper today. My name is Jim Merle. Let me start out here before we get into the video and say thank you for the 4,300, that is 4,300 plus people who have decided to subscribe to this channel. You don't know how encouraging, how uplifting, how great it is to see that number of people reaching out, trying to become a part of this community. By subscribing and hitting the bell notification off beside that, that's exactly what you're doing. You're becoming a part of this community called the Transplant Helper community, and you're not only helping me, you're helping countless other people as well. So let me just tell you and be honest with you, I noticed in my analytics the other day that 95% of the people who watch these videos are not subscribers. Now that doesn't mean they don't watch videos or you don't watch videos on a regular basis. It just means you haven't committed and hit that button. So for the 5% of you who've done that, thank you, great to you. To the 95% of you, thank you, because I know you're about to do that. Hit the subscribe button right now. Perfect opportunity to do that. But anyway, forget all of that. It is time for our monthly Q&A session. Basically, I get questions in all the time. 100% of the time, I respond back. So if I get that on a private message or a text or a phone call or an email or a comment in the video, I always respond back to that 100% of the time. I try to answer those questions best I can, but then there are times when I make entire programs out of questions. This is not one of them. There are other times when I put programs together like this, where I just kind of cover a lot of those general questions, put them all into one place so that you can find them. Today we're going to be talking about several subjects, including the LVAD, wait times and blood types, just supplemental type things, sunscreens, and I'm actually going to be answering a very personal question at the end because someone asked. Okay, so anyway, check that out. Stick around. You might get a kick out of the end, the last question, even if the others don't appeal, but forget that. You're ready for the question, so here we go. Question number one, do most people get an LVAD before a heart transplant? Well, the answer to that question is no. However, I will admit that increasingly, because LVAD technology has improved, because things have gotten better, and because it is becoming a more and more useful tool as a bridge to transplant than it was, say, 5, 6, 10 years ago when I was awaiting transplant, it's definitely becoming a viable option. Now, I've got an entire video about the LVAD, about the way that it's progressed and it has improved and why I chose not to have an LVAD back then, but if I was faced with it again now, I might. You can check out that entire video. But the basic gist of it is that if you back up 5, 6, 10 years ago, LVAD technology was not quite there. There were still tons of issues with clotting, with infections. The surgery itself was extremely dangerous, all that. It basically wasn't something I wanted to jump into. Back then, I saw an LVAD that they were calling a bridge to transplant as a bridge, but to me it was an old rope bridge made out of broken rotted sticks or something. It just wasn't a bridge I wanted to cross. But now things have gotten better, and to be completely honest with you, with the new transplant listing systems out there, the new system that came into effect end of 2018, 2019, it's probably really a pretty good idea. And that comes around for a lot of reasons. Mainly in light of that, it gets you a higher status listing, okay? You may not be near the very top, but you may be listed easily as a status 3 or 4 just because you received an LVAD. So doctors, and any doctor that's worth their salt, in my opinion, they're going to be doing everything they can to save your life, which in essence, many cases, means proving that you're a very sick individual, okay? And proving that they're willing to go into these lengths to save your life. And they have to present your case to say the United Network of Organ Sharing, other organizations, and prove that you definitely are a candidate to be high on the list. And one of the better ways of doing that is by using mechanical technologies like the LVAD, like the pumps, these types of things, that prove, hey, he's got to be, or he or she, they got to be pretty sick to get that. And they're going to be good and treating you as a good doctor when they make those moves. But you still got to weigh your options out. Quality of life is increased in most cases, not all. And that's really one of the reasons why the LVAD is becoming a better option day by day. You got someone like I was, who was asleep on the couch 16, 18 hours a day, had a transplant not come, and LVAD would have been a great option as far as restoring some of my quality of life. You know, giving me the time, and that's what it is. give me the time to reach for transplant. So it's not everyone who gets one, but increasingly more and more will be getting them as technology improves and as physicians see the need to give you that bridge while you wait. So that's a great question. Thank you so much for asking it. Question number 2, do type O blood types usually wait longer? Now, I don't know exactly how that should have been worded, or I worded it, doesn't feel right. But anyway, in general, to be honest with you, yes, a type O blood can wait a little bit longer than, say, someone else. And that's basically for one real reason, and that is type O is what they would call the universal donor blood. And what that basically means is if you've got a person who is, about to be available to donate their organs and they're type O, their type O organ can generally be shared with either someone who has type O blood, or as well as someone who has A blood or B blood or AB blood. Basically, that organ could potentially, and there's a lot more to matching than that, not just blood type, but tissue types, antibodies. There's a lot more to a match than that. But on the surface, the blood, basically that organ could be donated not only to you if you're a type O patient, but to others up and down your hallway of your center who have other blood types. In the reverse of that, say someone is waiting on, for example, a type A heart, a blood type A, basically they can get from an A or they can get from an O. So there's a little bit more competition out there as far as the universal donor and the potential of you getting that organ. Now, in your shoes, if you're a type O, you see that's all you can accept, or other type O's. And so, it may be that I hate to use the word again, competition, but it may be that there are 5 people up and down your hall that are of different blood types, but because you're the O, they may get some of that universal donor and then you be the last one to get. I don't know. At the end of the day, let me tell you this. When your match comes up, it will be your match, and you're going to get it, okay? So don't get too wrapped up into time frames and possibilities and outcomes. Just be sure that when your heart becomes available, your organ becomes available, you're going to get it, okay? The match is there. It'll be there. And just try to keep your confidence up. But in general, yeah, the wait time could be a little bit longer, but it's just because those organs are being spread a little bit thinner, okay, if that makes any sense. Next question here, and this is a very broad question, okay? Maybe I could have made a few videos. I have made a few videos about this, matter of fact. Why do we need a caregiver? I've got several videos already about the caregiver. From the perspective of what they do, why they do it, how to keep their minds right. I'll try to link that up here, maybe in the description below. But basically, in a nutshell, a caregiver could also be called a lifesaver, okay? Because when you're going through the transplant process, it can be very difficult, and your ability, both physically and emotionally, can really get a little bit thrown off kilter, especially after transplant. You may have a very good, viable organ placed in you, and so you're going to be meeting with success in the future, but because of the surgery, because of the healing process, because of the risk that are still there after transplant, at least for a certain period of time, you're going to need someone there. You're going to need someone there to be your driver, to make sure you get to those appointments, to keep up with your schedules, to make sure that you remember that you have appointments, to organize your medication. That is a huge one, okay? You have to learn and be able to comprehend a lot of new medications, maybe things you're not familiar with. You got to keep up very specific patterns and timings for those medications, and caregivers are really good at that. They're really good at going into the doctor visit and by actually remembering what the doctor said, or comprehending what the doctor said, or having the mindset within them to think and to ask the right questions. Caregivers are great. So if your transplant team says, hey, you're going to need a caregiver with you for 6-12 weeks post-transplant, listen to them. You definitely need that. You may need one for longer than that, and then even long term. I'm 6 years out, but I consider my wife to still be my caregiver because there's still some things that she's just really good at doing. For if nothing else, she can tell on me. Okay, I take her to the doctor and I tell the doctor I feel great and I feel fine. She said, no, he doesn't. He did this. He had that. She's great. And so you need a caregiver, and caregivers' primary concerns are just going to be making sure you have what you need and making sure that you ask the right questions and you're at the right places. Anyway, check out the other videos. I know that's a broad question, so it's as concise of an answer as I can give in a couple of minutes. So number 4 here, the supplements we take really matter. They add to that. I just hate taking pills I don't need. I hear you on that. I can remember when I was first out of transplant, I took 52 pills a day, okay? So 52 pills a day, that's whole handfuls of pills I took every day, and many of them, not all, but many of them were supplements. For example, I took vitamin D, I took vitamin C, I took magnesium, I took some potassium. I just took several different supplements that were there then. Not all of them are still here on me now, but I took several supplements that had nothing to do with my transplant. I can remember taking some medications for acid reflux, not necessarily a supplement, but I'd never had acid reflux in my life, so I couldn't understand, just a lot of little medications that were thrown in there that it seemed like I was getting like if they were handing out a generalized kit. And to an extent, that may be true. However, what really happens is, and most of the public never gets this privilege, when you're placed in the hospital for that long, they're doing daily blood panels and daily checks on these, levels in your bloodstreams, that sort of thing. They find out that you have some deficiencies. Like for me, vitamin D is a deficient mineral in me. Magnesium, my magnesium levels are kaput. They're no good. And so they made those discoveries, and by giving me those supplements, they've helped me, and that's allowed my body to heal better. That's allowed my body to do better in general. Now, with that said, oftentimes you need some of these supplements because of the medications you're on. Prograf, for example, is one of the drugs that's notorious for dropping mag levels, for throwing potassium levels off, sodium levels. And so you may need supplements now because of a medication you're on that's causing that level to be a little high, a little low. So they'll make adjustments, and just always remember that they may not seem like the most important pill in your medicine bag or your cabinet, but they serve a role, okay? They serve a purpose. And with that being said, I have to throw in here, don't ever start taking any supplement. I don't care what it is. Don't ever start taking any supplements without first checking with your team. So if you scroll through the internet and somebody says that vitamin D, which it is a very, very important mineral, but somebody says that vitamin D is the cure-all of everything, don't start swallowing vitamin D without telling anybody. You could really mess something up. So just be cautious, be careful, but ask your team and stick with a plan. Stick with a plan, okay? That's your best bet. So do supplements matter? Yes, they do. And whether you hate it or not, hate taking the pill, you need it, okay? Anyway, sunscreen. Sunscreen, this is not really a question, it's just a statement. Sunscreen pros and cons, okay? I've actually seen this come up last few days in Facebook because we're rolling into summertime, at least here in the South. We're in the summer, we're 90 degrees every day and beaming sun. Sunscreen is very important. The pros of having sunscreen, obviously, is there's that protection. There's that barrier between you and those UVA, UVB, those rays that cause harm. And you know already, maybe you've heard me say this, there's an 80% chance of you getting some form of cancer within the first 3 years post-transplant. And 90% of that 80% chance they're skin cancer. So you really need to do what you can to protect yourself from those beams, from those rays when you're out there. Now, what you gain from the sun is tremendous, okay? The sun, the vitamin D that you absorb, and other minerals and stuff that you absorb from sunlight, very important to your health. Very important for staying healthy, for resting well. You need the sun, but you have to protect yourself. So the best way to do that, the best way, period, I'm going to say this, really is not in the sunscreens, it's wearing clothing. If you can stand it and you can wear the hats, so you can wear the sunglasses or the longer sleeve shirts or long pants, that's a great protection to the sun. That's not necessarily going to cause you any ill effects. However, if you're going to do the creams, the lotions, the sprays, let me suggest to you that if you're going to do it, make it worth it, okay? So use something with a pretty high SPF in it. I think the very minimum that I've seen recommended is SPF 15. Most teams recommend like an SPF 50 if you're going to do that, and put it on regular, okay? It doesn't matter. Like here in the South, we may wake up one morning and it's, 80 degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning, the sun's already beaming. We may wake up the next day and it's overcast and 65 degrees. The weather's crazy here. And I think, well, I don't need it today. Well, you need a little bit of that protection. As a matter of fact, I wear some form of sunscreen, whether it's through clothing or lotions, year round, and I suggest that you do that as well. If you're a guy and you don't want to smell like the Bahama Mama or Panama Jack, and if you're not old enough to know who that is, just forget I said it. But if you don't want to smell like a woman on a beach, there are options. They're manly type of sunscreens, and I use something like this, and I don't promote this. They don't promote me. I'm not necessarily promoting this, but this is Nivea Men. Nivea Men is basically a protective lotion that you can put over your face and stuff. And my face I can't cover, like I would, or I don't cover like I would with clothing. But it's got an SPF 15 built in it, which is minimal, but it's there. And I'll put that on my face a lot of days just to give me a little barrier there if I know I'm going to be out for a longer period of time. So, find a product that works for you. And I know there are people, they say, well, it clogs your pores and messes you up, especially if you're a lady. Hey, a lot of your makeup already has a sunscreen in it. They're not necessarily advertised that way, but they do. So maybe you don't need the extra lotion, or just remember the pros versus cons. The pro is it can help you. The con is you can get skin cancer, which I'll save you the gore, but I've got several large scars on my back already where I've had skin cancers. Don't want to do that again. Definitely don't want to go that road. So wear your sunscreens, cover up whatever you can do. It's well worth it. Now, that was question number 5, I guess. Let's see. We covered LVADs, blood types, caregivers, supplements, sunscreens. Okay, so that was the first 5 questions. Question number 6. Matter of fact, these other questions I kind of printed out. This one I penciled in at the last minute because I decided I would just answer it. A person said, can you tell me something about you that nobody knows? Something about me that nobody knows. I probably shared a few of these over time just for entertainment, but something about me that nobody knows. Let's think. This is, I'm not thinking about what it is. I'm thinking about what it is shared. Something about me that nobody knows is I shave my nose hair. Really, yeah. Matter of fact, I brought my little tool here. This is some kind of Phillips Norelco nose hair tool. Yeah, I know, it's icky. I bought this for $10 one day at Walmart. It's been a lifesaver. I don't know what it is. I've had videos about pro-graph and hair loss. My hair is getting very thin up here. It's receding. At the end of the day, I'm going to lose my hair when nobody else in my family's ever done so, it seems, but because of medication. But for whatever reason, and maybe this is age-related. If this is age-related, comment below. Are you losing your hair? Is it because you're old, or can you blame something for it? I don't know. Comment below. Are you losing your hair? Is your hair getting thin? Mine is anyway. But a friend of mine told me one day, he said, I don't mind my hair falling out on top of my head because the hair in my ears is so long I can do a comb over. I'm beginning to feel that. At 44, I guess, I'm beginning to feel that. And it's really aggravating. The little tickles here, and especially here. I didn't pick my nose. I did that, okay? Underneath, not in. But anyway, really aggravating. Let's just be honest about it. And that's something that nobody knows. As a matter of fact, this little nose trimmer, you won't find me walking through, the city square using it or anything. This is one of those things where you close the bathroom door and lock it, and you pull it out of the back of the drawer when nobody's looking or when you're home alone, and you go ahead and take care of that. So yeah, big help if you need one. The Phillips Norelco, it's washable. This is the Series 1000. There's a new one out now, but yeah, that little sound, that's the sound of relief. Okay, let's be honest about it. Anyway, that's just kind of for fun, but yeah, something nobody knows about me. I trim my nose and ear hair. It's yucky, but it's me. Anyway, I hope this program has helped you out in some way. If I've not answered your question, which I only answered 5, 6 if you add that silly one. If I've not answered your question yet again, if you comment below the video with a question, always respond. Send me an email at jim@thetransplanthelper.com. Always respond. Find me on Facebook. Send me a private message. Always respond. Twitter. If you ask the question, I'll do my best to answer it, or at least to refer you to a place where you can find the answer. I love doing these. Thank you so much again. 4,300 of you actually have subscribed. If you hadn't, here's your reminder to go ahead and do that. And by the way, as I always try to say at the end of this, I just love what I do. I love to advocate, educate, and motivate fellow transplant patients, and you are one of those. So thank you for watching this video and for any of the others. By the way, here at the end of this, I'm going to be popping up some videos about nowish. You can check out some of those videos. Many of those videos are mine, other related topics, as well as oftentimes I'll share videos of other people. So if you've got a good video that you would like me to share, that's helped you, or maybe it's your story, comment below in the video, in the description, in the comments, and I'll be sure to pop that up here. That'll be my gift to you. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, stay stronger, friends.